The Sacramento Kings won a massive game against the Warriors on Tuesday night in the play-in tournament. It was massive for a multitude of reasons. The main one being that us as Kings fans don't have to hear about us losing to the Warriors again for the next 365 days at least. So that's nice. That, alone makes it worth it to win that game. But they're also saying that we ended the Warriors dynasty, which, time will tell. But that's pretty cool if that ends up being true. But yeah, man, just a monster game from the Kings, especially on the defensive end of the floor. But I've already gone on too long without mentioning Keon Ellis, man. What a game from him. What a coming out party for our starting shooting guard. This guy, I mean, he was just unbelievable. He was everywhere. But I have to admit something. So I'm a pretty new channel. I started making videos like in October, so like during preseason and stuff. And I was making all these videos about like player profiles, and I was making a video for every player on the Kings talking about like what their expectations should be for this season, and if I think the player will meet those expectations. I kind of like I wasn't like predicting stats or anything, but just kind of like what does this player need to do in order for us as Kings fans to be happy with them come the end of the season. So I didn't even give Keon Ellis his own video. I like bundled him up with Jalen Slauson, Colby Jones, maybe Kessler Edwards too. But I literally talked about Keon Ellis for probably 4 seconds, and I literally just said, if Keon Ellis is seeing significant time for the Kings, then we're probably in trouble. Which, luckily, I'm a small channel, so nobody's like going back and digging that up. But I'll be the first one to admit when I'm wrong. And man, was I wrong in the best way possible. Because Keon Ellis has been a godsend. What a find from Monty and the Kings front office. And what an awesome story he is. Going from JUCO, getting transferred. I don't know if it was like he got a scholarship to Bama. I really don't know how the whole transfer portal works, I'll be honest. But he transfers to Bama. He goes undrafted. The Kings pick him up. He plays in the G League last year. Gets a roster spot this year. Pretty sure it was a two-way contract to start. I know it got fully guaranteed a few months ago, but now he's starting for the Kings in the play-in tournament and win or go home games. Pretty cool to see. I mean, he just had like the game of his life when it mattered most. So shout out Keon Ellis. Keegan Murray, also like one of the best games of his career. He went 8 of 13 from three, and I think he scored like 12 of the Kings' first 15 points, something wild like that. He was just on fire from the jump, and the Warriors couldn't do anything about it. And then the defensive effort from the entire team was amazing. Maybe the best defense we've seen from this Kings team ever. And Keon and Keegan were a huge part of that. Their on-ball defense, especially on Steph, was just suffocating. And they were grabbing offensive rebounds. They were doing all the little things. And, they were everywhere. A loose ball would be on the ground, and all of a sudden, here comes Keon or Keegan. I mean, Fox and, the whole team, dude. The energy was insane. The defensive tenacity was intense. And, just from start to finish, they played their hearts out and they played their asses off. I really gotta give credit to the Kings and to the coaching staff as well, to Mike Brown. But the players just brought it on Tuesday, and couldn't be more proud of them as a fan. Now I did mention, I do think that was probably the best defense the Kings have played. Like this iteration of the Kings team, these 2 years that we've had Mike Brown, it's probably the best defense we've ever played. It does help that Clay went 0 for 10. Probably the worst game of his career. Wiggins was nowhere to be found. I honestly forgot he was even on the Warriors. Curry scored 22, and he was their leading scorer. But yeah, man, if you can hold Steph to 22 points, you're probably doing pretty good. So yeah, the Warriors kind of sucked, but you got to give credit to the Kings for shutting them down. Also, I want to mention the offensive rebounding from the Kings was ridiculous. They kept so many possessions alive, and the energy was just infectious. And shout out the crowd that was there too. I mean, it literally felt like a game 7. Shout out Sacramento, man. I mean, like every single person in that arena just brought their A game, except for the Warriors, which is what you want to see. Now, I've talked a lot already about Keegan and Keon, and for good reason. Keegan had a big scoring night, but his defense was amazing as well. And Keon obviously was everywhere on the court, like I've mentioned, but he also knocked down some big shots. And that those are the reasons everyone is talking about them. But Fox and Sabonis played some terrific basketball as well, and just did what they've done all year. Their two-man game was great as always. The pick and roll was working, and that, of course, is what led to a lot of open looks for Keegan and Keon and Trey and everybody. But yeah, man, Fox, like, dude, on any given night, he can give you 40, and on any given night, he can bust the other starting point guard's ass on both ends of the floor. Like, he can give it to your favorite point guard any night of the week. I wouldn't call him like a top 5 point guard or anything, but he's one of those top guys in the league. He's an absolute dog, and we're lucky to have him. We're lucky that he likes playing for the Kings, man. And same goes for Sabonis, man. I mean, like, I won't get into the whole Tyrese thing. It's a topic for another day. But having those two guys, Fox, Sabonis, who are star-level players who enjoy playing in Sacramento, it's just huge, man. We haven't seen that since, like, Chris Webber. So I know I've mentioned Keon like fucking 25 times now, but I want to go over his stats real quick because they're just insane. 15 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks, 5 of 8 from the field. That's good for 62.5%. And he's 3 of 4 from 3, which I don't need to tell you this, but that's 75%. And also 2 of 2 from the free throw line. I mean, just massive. Massive, massive game from him. And a lot of the defensive stuff he was doing, and even the stuff on the offensive side of the floor, won't really show up in the box score. But I mean, anybody watching the game, like, he was the guy that really stood out, and that's with Keegan going 8 of 13 from 3. So like that really says a lot. It says a lot too when you got Fox and Sabonis and Steph on the court as well. And like Keon's really the guy that everybody, at least everybody who didn't want to talk about the Warriors dynasty ending, he's the guy everybody was talking about. It's really crazy to think that this might have been the last we've seen of this dynasty. And as much as I want to like take a step back and appreciate what they've meant to the game of basketball for the past 10 years, I just can't do that because I absolutely despise their fan base. Their fans are some of the most idiotic, spoiled, cocky, entitled, toxic sons of bitches you'll ever meet, dude. They don't know ball. They don't know how to lose, let alone win with any sort of grace. Their heads are so far up their own asses that they don't even realize they've wandered into Steph Curry's asshole. I mean, I could go on and on about Warriors fans and how much I despise them, but I'll sum it all up by saying it felt fucking amazing to light the beam on their grave and watch them go home. But man, it feels good to beat those assholes after everything we went through last year, and really like everything we as Northern California residents, or at least fans of a team that reside in Northern California, have gone through over the course of the last 10 years. So yeah, man, fuck them all. Truly. Simple as that. I'm sorry, Mom, if you somehow find this video. I apologize for the profanity, but if you saw half the things I've seen on Warriors Twitter, I would hope you understand. And Kings fans deserve better than for me to hold back any punches. Anyway, I kind of free-falled into a bit of a Warriors-centric rabbit hole there. I clearly had a lot of bottled up hatred inside of me that I've been holding on to for a very long time. But it's good to let it out. The only issue is it's hard to celebrate too much because we're not out of the woods yet. Out of the frying pan into the fire, as they say. We've vanquished our fiercest villain, exorcised our demons, but now we gotta face our newest enemy, the goddamn New Orleans Pelicans, the most random fucking one-sided ass rivalry I've ever seen. 5-0 in a season series is crazy. That's insane. But that's what we're up against tomorrow night. And people keep saying it's hard to go 6-0 against the team, but that's what we were saying when they went 5-0. Motherfucker, it's hard to go 4-0 against the team. But with that said, the Pels will be without Zion. But before you start celebrating too much, please remember what happened last time we played the Pels without Zion. Uh, Spoiler alert, it was 133 to 100 in Golden One Center, and no, we did not win that game. I almost went to that game actually, but I threw out my back earlier that day. I promise I'm not like fucking 65. I am 24 actually, which is even more concerning that I threw out my back. But anyway, kind of a weird coincidence because uh, my cousin, who I was supposed to go to the game with, also threw out his back like the night before. Weird, really weird coincidence. But we took that as a sign, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't go to this game. And turns out we were right because we lost by 33. So I was able to just like turn off the TV. Didn't have to worry about the old walk of shame, up the stairs and into Doco, trying to find your car without crying. But yeah, man, I really don't know what to expect tomorrow. I really thought the Warriors were going to win on some bullshit like Klay Thompson game winner. And then he had the worst game of his career. So clearly, I don't know anything. The good thing is we finally have some confidence, and I can't imagine the Pelicans feel great going into this game without Zion, especially with how much they've struggled at home this year. But, them having 5 wins against us in their back pocket probably gives them confidence just by default. But if we bring the same energy on both sides of the ball that we brought against the Warriors, I feel pretty good about our chances. But, it's just a completely different team. It's going to be a completely different type of game, different game plan, different flow. I mean, everything. It's just like you almost couldn't pick two more opposite teams than the Pelicans and the Warriors. Now, they'll be missing their bulldozer in Zion, so hopefully that swings the advantage back to us a little bit, maybe on the boards. We'll see, because I mean there was one game. It might have been the game where we lost by 33, where they had like a 51 to 25 rebound advantage, which like if that happens, then yeah, we're gonna lose by 20 plus 30, whatever it is. That definitely cannot happen. But like I really was impressed, because we were getting offensive rebounds from like our guards, let alone I think Domas had like 12 to 15 rebounds. I can't remember. I know he had like a 16, 12, 7. I think it was 16 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. I could be a little bit wrong on those. So like he definitely got his, but like Keegan had a bunch of rebounds. I know Keon had. I literally just said it. Anyway, you guys get the idea. We rebounded pretty well against the Warriors. We need to do that again. Control the possession game, and hopefully our threes are falling, and hopefully CJ stops shooting fucking 70% from three against us. And no, that's not an over exaggeration. He is literally shooting 70% against us from three over the 5 games they've played against us. Just like ridiculous, dude. Like video game numbers. But all that said, a win tomorrow night would be crazy. We're somehow favorites. I don't get it. Even without Zion, like I just don't get it. We have literally played like our worst basketball against this team. But if we want to get a win tomorrow, we need Sabonis to play big down low. Need Fox to keep attacking. Don't settle for threes. Definitely shoot some threes, but don't settle for threes. There's a fine line there, Need Keon to be in 3 places at once like he was in this last game. If Keegan can hit even like 4 threes, that'd be huge. We don't need him to hit 8. Although, I mean, please do if you're willing and able. But like 4 threes would be perfect from Keegan. We also need HB to not be a black hole. We need him to be the Black Falcon. Need him to ascend and fucking kill some Pelicans, dude. How about Trey comes out and hits some threes as well, huh? That'd be nice. That nice little like wraparound finish he had was so sick. I wish I could pull that up and play it for you guys. It was just so nice, dude. Yeah, I don't really have a ton to say as far as like analysis or even like predictions because I really don't know what to expect tomorrow. I know the vibes are good right now. I know we're running on a little bit of a high right now. As we should be. I don't want to say that you shouldn't be feeling that way because I'm feeling that way as well. But dude, I like the Pelicans have just had our number, and I know they don't have Zion, but in the past that hasn't mattered. Obviously, there's a little bit of a different like situation, scenario, all that, but like we haven't shown any signs that we can beat this team. And maybe all it takes is just like some good juju that we mustered up in SAC, and maybe we can take that to New Orleans, where they really have struggled at home, which is crazy. Like I'm pretty sure they're a better road team than they are a home team, and they've lost at least two in a row to the Lakers. I think it was like five in a row at home, something crazy like that. So maybe we can take advantage of that. Um, I was looking back at like past playing uh, games 'cause I was curious, like in this second playing round, it's a team who just lost against a team who just won, and I was wondering, like, okay, does the team who just won, are they able to like carry on that momentum and like blow past the higher seeded team? And the results were pretty like even. Like some teams did, some teams didn't. I didn't really like do a deep dive. I couldn't really remember if there were like injuries involved in some of these games. I'm sure there was, but yeah, it wasn't anything crazy. Like, oh yeah, the 9 or 10 seed like always beats the 8 seed because they have momentum. It wasn't like that at all. It wasn't really like the other way either, where like the team who just lost gets it together and beats the lower seeded team. It was kind of just a wash. So yeah, all that research and all that yapping about it for nothing. Um, but I'll be honest, man. Like the Kings already got the game that we all really needed them to. Um, in order for us to not feel like this was the worst possible season we could have had after last year. Not to say that if we lose tomorrow, it's okay. Obviously not. But like, it would have been so much worse if we lost to the Warriors again on our home court. Like, I just would not have been able to go on social media for like 3 weeks. Probably would not have been able to leave my house for like a month. So, really happy we got that win against the Warriors. Really hoping we get the win tomorrow. I'm like cautiously optimistic. I'll put it that way. Yeah, that's all. Go Kings, light the beam.